Hey, happy Saturday morning, everybody. Dave here from Fix and Fly RC. Hey, I was going to do a quick video. Excuse my mess. I've been like 3 planes I'm working on a issue I just uncovered with one of my SMC batteries. I've actually kind of gone exclusively to these recently. I've flown, well, I mean, it's not like I've flown a bunch, but I've got Spectrum batteries, which I've liked. They've performed well, but they're expensive. And I went to HRBs for a while, and but they just started like giving bad cells, and I've almost lost a couple planes because of them. So I'm monitoring the ones that I still have left, but I've quit buying them. And I bought some Z batteries. They're okay, but didn't appear to perform well in EDFs. It's good for the prop planes, but not for the EDFs. And then I've gone to the SMCs, and I've liked the way they performed so far. So I've bought several over the last year or so. The problem that I had was these are some 6000s I had bought to fly in my B-1B bomber, and I'm also flying them in my A-10 now. And I noticed I had purchased one, and I buy these anti-spark connectors, and they're pretty good. And kind of what happens if you notice a lot of times when you plug your connectors in and you see that little spark, well, the positive and negatives are touching at the same time, and then it causes that spark. And this anti-spark one in these T connectors, you won't be able to see it in here, but one's offset just a tad bit from the other one. So what's happening is you're getting the, well, let's see, it'd be the positive side. So you're getting the positive side makes connection first, and then it's already made a connection before the negative makes connections, and that minimizes that spark. So I've been using those, and those helped a lot. But the problem I had was I was flying this battery the other day in my A-10, and when I took it apart, apologize for this bad thing, but I pulled it out, and you can see that on both sides the wires were loose. And I've got some close-up pictures that I'll put in the video. But what's happened is that they didn't even tin all the wire, and when they seated it in, so we got a bunch of just frayed wires, and they were actually coming out the back of the cover that's supposed to cover the solder joints. And as you know, with LiPo batteries, especially the big ones, but any LiPo battery, a short or anything, can be really dangerous. And I actually had a friend of mine flying with me help me unplug this one because I was too afraid that I was going to touch the wires together. I've contacted Danny at SMC and sent him some information. He thinks that they had a new employee at that time, but I bought probably 4 or 5 batteries in that time frame, so I got to go back and check them all. So anyway, today I'm going to be trying to unsolder these and resolder them correctly to make it a good, safe solder joint. And I won't go through the whole video of the soldering. There's a ton of videos out there soldering it, but I'll come back after I get it soldered, show you what the solder joint looks like. I've actually got some spare connectors too, so if I'm not having any luck in getting these to pull out, I'll just go with a whole new connector. But anyway, I'm gonna go take care of this, and I'll be back. Okay, so I got the first one unsoldered. Apologize for that. And look, you can see all this should be tinned. And it's just really just the very, very tip is all that's tin. All this other wire was loose. So yeah, just a really, really poor quality solder job. Pretty lucky, I think, that something worse hadn't happened. So I'm gonna tin this up and see if I can't get it right back in the connector, and I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so I got the negative side reflowed and resoldered. And one thing I did notice too, I should have fixed it. I'll just adapt for it, but they actually had cut too much wire, so there's too much extended out past this insulation. But when I put the cover back on, I'm going to put tape on it. But one thing I noticed that I did, and for me, when I'm working on these, just to prevent a problem, so now that I've got this side done, if you notice I had done the other side, I've taped it off, so just in case a wire, one comes loose, falls over and hits this side, it's not going to accidentally set a spark and cause a problem. So as I'm working each side, I'm covering the other side up. So, but you can see again here, no flux at all on these wires. It looks like he just did just the bare minimum to get it in there. But but what's happening, these wires were coming out underneath the back of this, and they were almost touching one of the positives and the negatives. So we're gonna pull this out, go ahead and flow the whole side, and resolder that one back together. Hey, so when I pulled this one out, one thing I noticed too is that, I don't know if you can really see in the video, but he only really had half of that was actually soldered in, and you can see what the wire looks like that came out of there. So yeah, really pretty scared about that. Hey, one thing I forgot to mention, I'll go ahead and say here, is one thing I do is I went ahead and put like a mating connector for one of these on here, because what happens is you can get these when you're trying to solder them and stuff, that can get pretty hot, and it can actually, the plastic sometimes will get hot and start deforming, and if you're not careful, this will get a little cockeyed in here, and you'll go through all that work and get it soldered, and then it won't fit, and you have to start over again. So it's just something I saw somebody on Facebook talk about, and I've been doing it, and it helps a lot. Okay, so I've got my connectors soldered back on, and this took a little bit of work to get this back on, just because when I had soldered the wires, some solder flowed back up in here, and it's made the wire hard right there, and I don't want to try to bend it and do anything weird. So but anyway, obviously no wires sticking out, and we'll charge her up and check the resistance and everything, make sure everything's good. But anyway, I know not everybody's got soldering guns and solder and stuff like that. Yeah, so part of this hobby is learning how to repair things and do things. Sometimes, guy at the hobby shop one time said it's not a hobby if you're not fixing or repairing. But anyway, hope this helps. Like I said, there's plenty of videos on how to solder connectors and stuff like that. I'm tending to try to do videos of things that you can't find a lot of videos on, but this one in particular, just because LiPo batteries can be so dangerous, and if you're not careful, and people have unfortunately lost houses and a lot of possessions over batteries that go bad, or they don't take care of them or whatever. So anyway, be careful out there. Great hobby. LiPo batteries are a great resource, but also dangerous, and like anything else, you got to be careful with them. And anyway, if any comments or suggestions, always just leave a comment for the community. We're just here to help each other. Anyway, have a great day flying out here.